Hey travelers, welcome back to Laura's Travel Talk. Today, we're going to take a look at Eastern Canada. I did Western Canada before, where I did the 4 provinces of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. But there are 6 more because there are 10 in total. So today we're going to cover Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Newfoundland Labrador, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. So if you would be so kind as to leave comments in the comment section after the end of the video and watch the video all the way through, I would really appreciate it. I included a little map here so that you could see when I did the West 4 provinces, and then the 3 above British Columbia and Alberta, those are territories, the Yukon Territory, Northwest Territory, and Nunavut, but they aren't considered one of the 10 provinces. So let's get started, because the beauty of Eastern Canada, nothing like it. So we're going to start off by looking at St. John's, which is Canada's colorful port city. Look at that. It's the easternmost city in North America, and it's known for jelly bean row houses, like you can see there, and Signal Hill. And it's home to George Street, which is famous for its pubs and live music, which is really cool. And you can just shop. I mean, it looks like a great little tourist area. It's got this little skywalk where you can go out, and then the floor is glass beneath you. Very cool. And I put a map here so you can see St. John there on the bottom, and it is the easternmost city in North America. And then you go right into Newfoundland Labrador is up above that. And it is got some beautiful areas. It's got the Gros Morne National Park, and it's an UNESCO World Heritage Site because it's got fantastic fjords and mountains and rugged cliffs. And then there's this La Manche suspension bridge. Look at that thing. That looks pretty cool and pretty high up over that water. My tips for visiting would be take a boat tour of that fjord area. You know, rent a boat and just drive through there. Holy cow, that is gorgeous. So get out to St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Gorgeous. So our next stop is Prince Edward Island. Just look at that. And it's the home of the Anne of Green Gables Inspiration House. And it's famous for its red sand beaches, rolling farmland, and it's really a cool place to visit. It's got a lot of fresh seafood, obviously, oysters, mussels. But this Anne of Green Gables, the book, this is the actual real house that inspired the book. Of course, the book is fiction, but that's the house. And then my tip would be to drive the Central Coastal Drive for stunning ocean views. Visit the Anne of Green Gables house, or, you know, if you got a lot of time, go take that drive down to the beach and get you some oysters or some mussels. That looks really awesome. So next we're going to take a look at New Brunswick. Look at that. Just beautiful fall colors, and then you just ride on out to the lighthouse at the beach. So you've got Fundy National Park and the Hopewell Rocks, and it's home to the highest tides in the world, where you can walk out on the ocean floor at low tide. It's amazing, and you can go kayaking and hiking. Look at this around the Hopewell Rocks. That's fabulous. So my tip for visiting would be visit both at high tide and low tide to see the dramatic changes. And of course, you know, you're going to have beautiful fall foliage. This New Brunswick actually borders the U.S. state of Maine. So it kind of gives you an idea of, you know, where it lays, and you can, you know, go fishing off the rocks there. Oh, fabulous. So next, let's talk about Nova Scotia. Again, another lighthouse, another gorgeous view. It's just gorgeous. This is Cape Breton Island. And it's got one of the most scenic drives in the world with ocean views, mountains, and it's got these charming fishing villages, which I just get drawn into those. So it's a great place for hiking, whale watching, photography. And, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island are known as the Maritime Provinces. They're, right out there on the water, and they're fishing villages, and oh, it's so cool. And then, of course, my tip would be fall's the best time for stunning autumn colors, of course. And then stop at the Skyline Trail and go up to Cabot Trail. Look at this. I mean, they've got all the boardwalk all the way down and around. What a great way to just go and enjoy all that. And then if you go to Peggy's Cove in Nova Scotia, it is the most famous lighthouse in Canada. It's a picturesque fishing village, and it's got rocky coastlines and legendary lighthouse sitting there. I mean, what a great picture. It is one of the most photographed spots in Canada. And I would say stay off the black rocks because they can be very slippery and dangerous. But visit early or late in the day to avoid all the crowds, and then just go stay in one of these charming fishing villages and just absorb the beauty. Well, let's take a look at Montreal, or as they would say, Montreal. Beautiful city. And it is a much larger city, as you can see here, not on the maritime side where it's fishing provinces. It is the cultural capital of Canada. It's a lively city. It's known for its arts area, its food, its music, its festivals. I mean, there's a lot of street stuff going on. You can stay downtown and walk around while they're having some of these fairs. It's home to Mount Royal, the Notre Dame Basilica, and it's got a lot going on. You can walk down there by the waterfront and or take a little ferry ride down there. It's just a really kind of a cool town, and you can explore the old port area, and they have street performers, food, nightlife. And then I saw this picture of this woman walking in this snow-covered park. I mean, there's something about that picture that's just breathtaking to me. Enjoy. Next up, we're going to look at Quebec. Quebec City. It's a European escape in Canada. Why is it great? Well, it's one of the oldest cities in North America, and it's filled with cobblestone streets, French-style buildings, and it is the only province that French is actually the official language. They speak French mostly in Quebec. But you can go to the Chateau Frontenac. You like that? That's a Fairmont property, so it's going to be a little pricey. And go to Old Quebec, and then you can go see the Montmorency Falls. Look at that. That's pretty. And then, if you want tips for visiting, I would go, get involved with some of these canoeing adventures. They're doing that on snow. That's snow canoeing or snow kayaking. Crazy. But you can also go in winter, and they have a Quebec winter carnival, and they make all these ice sculptures, and it's great family fun. It's just beautiful out there. So enjoy. Next up, let's take a look at Ottawa. Ottawa is the capital city of Canada. Why is it great? Look at that Parliament. That's all the Parliament buildings. It's a political and cultural hub, and it's got stunning architecture and museums. It's home to this Parliament Hill and the Rideau Canal. And one of the tips would be you can go out and go ice skating on that canal in the winter when it's frozen over. Kind of cool, huh? And then they also had this Canadian War Museum, which is out there, and it's really kind of cool. And my tips for visiting would be visit during Canada Day, which is July 1st, and it's got really amazing celebrations. Or if you're there in the winter, go ice skating down that canal because that looks pretty fun. And now we're going to go over to the province of Ontario, and we'll go to Toronto. I've been to Toronto quite a few times, and I love that city. It's a lot of fun. And the downtown area is pretty tight, so you can walk around to quite a few places, but it is big. But it's very kind of cool. It's very diverse, got a lot of dining, museums, entertainment, all kinds of stuff. It's a big city. It's home to that CN Tower there that you see in the middle. And it's just got a lot of beautiful skyscrapers, buildings. But for a real thrill, you can go out at the CN Tower. You can do this edge walk. They strap on all these security safety harnesses, and you can either lean backwards or you can lean out forwards like that. I don't know. That's making my hands tingle just talking about it right now. Nah. But it's also got the Royal Ontario Museum. That's kind of an interesting building because it looks like an old building and then new jutting out from the side. And then they have the Distillery District, which has got a lot of fun and entertainment. You can go hang out there with your friends. Or you can go to the Kensington Market for unique shopping and then street food and just go sit out there and enjoy. But I couldn't leave Toronto without giving a nod to the NHL Hockey Hall of Fame. That's very cool too. I've been in there. It's got everything, all the history, and as you know, NHL is a pretty old sport. So that's right in the downtown area. So you have time to just dip in and go view everything in Toronto. Enjoy! Well, our next stop in the province of Ontario is Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls. Sorry, that's an old reference. It is Canada's most iconic natural wonder. It's one of the most famous waterfalls in the world. I got this picture of it when it's frozen in spots. I found that kind of interesting. But it offers thrilling boat rides and scenic viewpoints, and I have done that Maid of the Mist boat, and it takes you right up to the falls. It's very, very cool. And then there's the Horseshoe Falls, which is on the Canadian side. And then part of the American Falls on the US side. But there's just a lot of things to do. Nature trails, wineries. There's a lively tourist, district. Those hornblower boat cruises or the Maid of the Mist cruise, they're really kind of fun. Or you can go at night and you can see the falls illuminated with all those colorful lights. I think it's really kind of cool. And if you're not quite sure exactly how Niagara goes with the US and Canada, this little map here, Canada is actually on the left because it comes down, and that's the US going up and around. So Buffalo, New York is right there on the US side, and then you cross over and you have got Lake Erie down below and Lake Ontario above. It's it confuses some people, but it's very cool. I would say you got to get out to Niagara Falls. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful wonders that we have. And frankly, most people think that the Canada side has a better view to look out at, so you can be the judge for yourself. Also, if you go to Niagara on the lake, it's a charming small town, but it's got all this fun zone and all this stuff to do for people that are staying for a weekend. I mean, look at all those rides and food places. And then it's got this charming downtown with horse-drawn carriages, fantastic bed and breakfast to stay at and restaurants. Get out to Niagara, guys. I mean, to tell you, you're missing out if you haven't been there. Well, let's take a look at some sports teams in Eastern Canada. We're going to start off with the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. They're Canada's only NBA team. They were established in 1995, and they have been to the NBA Finals one time in 2019 with a win. Next up is the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays are the only Major League Baseball team in Canada. There used to be the Montreal Expos, but in 2004 they moved to Washington, D.C. and are now the Washington Nationals. So the Toronto Blue Jays were established in 1977, and they have been to the World Series twice with 2 wins, 1992 and 1993. Pretty cool. Next up, Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs are one of the most historic hockey franchises. They were established in 1917. They have been to the Stanley Cup 22 times. and they've had 13 wins. And the latest of those wins was in 1966-67 season. So it's been a minute. And then we have the Montreal Canadiens, which is also in the NHL, and they are the most successful team in NHL history. They were established in 1909. They've been to the Stanley Cup 35 times. And out of those 35 times, they've got 24 wins. The last one was in 1978. And the Montreal Canadiens are known as the Habs. That is short for Habitants. Old story. I put a link in the descriptions for you so you can read all about it. Because people always wonder what's that H for. And that's your pro sports team in Canada. So let's get real here. Let's talk about some food. I mean, we really just came for the poutine. Am I right? Poutine is French fries with cheese curds. Those little white things are cheese curds and gravy. And it is unbelievably good. You got to have some poutine if you've never had it. And then they have Montreal style bagels. They are denser and sweeter than New York bagels, so they're a little bit different. I don't think I've ever had a Montreal bagel, but I'll have to try it in Montreal. And then they have maritime lobster rolls, fresh, buttery, and delicious. My God, look at that chunk of lobster. I would like to dive into that, yet I'm allergic, so I might die. Might be a good way to go out. I'm just saying. And then PEI, Prince Edward Island. They have potatoes, and they are some of the best potatoes in the world. That's a big statement, the world. And then lastly, you have butter tarts that you kind of find in Ontario a lot. They're sweet Canadian classic pastry, lots of butter. Paula Deen would love them. Well, I want to thank you for watching and joining me on the other half of Canada, the other 6 of the 10 provinces. I really enjoyed it. I really love Canada. And if you have not been to Canada, it doesn't matter what province you go to. They all have their own beauty for different things. And I appreciate you watching and subscribing. I would most appreciate it if you watched videos all the way through. My timing numbers need to go up. And please put some comments, as I said earlier, in the comments, and I'll leave links to all these places and food in the description of the video when it's over. So, thanks for joining me in Canada. And in the meantime, go get you some poutine and get to the Hockey Hall of Fame.